Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Where did that come from? Let me get this out of here real quick. Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I haven't messed up the date in quite a while. I don't know. StreamYard is doing something different, but I'm fine with @Java with Jimmy being there. Welcome to the Java Cafe this morning. Again, it is Wednesday, July 16th. On Wednesdays, we've been known to come from the theme, we need to know. And I put up a post yesterday talking about, and good morning to Blitz 2K55 over on Instagram. We'll go in the Facebook section of the Java Cafe in a moment. Queen Nick, good morning to you as well over on Instagram. Ari, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room in the IG section of the Java Cafe. I wanted to talk about the upcoming city council race. We've talked a lot about the mayoral race, which is huge. This city has one of the most powerful by charter mayoral powers in the country. And the city council does have some power because they vote on the budget. And there's a lot of power that has come to them in the past few years. And so city council is just as important as the mayoral race as well. And so we need to definitely keep an eye on that. We're going to talk about that today. And so let's go into the Facebook section first and see who's in the Java Cafe this morning. First, Mama Java, good to see you in the room this morning. Good to see you. Where in the heck did this black come from? Hold on, y'all. I don't know what I did in the background, but there we go. And there it should be. Hold on. Something ain't right. Is that it? I think that's it. Well, it's going to have to be it for now. But anyway, I think that looks a little bit better. So the city council race is just as important as the mayoral race. That is the mayor. The mayor makes the final decisions to some extent, has veto power, but the city council has power as well. And we are in a very contentious election season in a time in this country where, like times past, we are seeing that systems and structures in this country that were built by white men, based to keep marginalized communities like women, Black people, LGBTQ plus community more marginalized. And what I'm observing that's going on locally here in Boston right now is interesting. Everyone is fully clear of my support for Mayor Michelle Wu. And as we get closer to the election, and I'm going to try to do better at focusing more on why I'm supporting her and not other candidates, I have to give a special shout out to my boy and friend, Domingo DeRosa, that I saw the other day, all love, gripped up, and everything is good. I just have to give him an honorable mention and shout out. I also have to name that we often move with the presumption that the top two candidates after September will be Michelle Wu and Josh Kraft. Now, operatives, pundits, strategists are like Jimmy, yes. But still, because of this brother's investment in community, I just find myself naming him often. And so I am supporting Mayor Michelle Wu. Has all of her policies always been perfect? No. Last election cycle, when I came out for Michelle, some folks sent me a screenshot of when I was at her when she voted for Bill Linehan. And then when she became city council president, she employed someone to help her better engage in the Black community. Boy, did I. Yes. So none of them are without error. None of them are without better ways that they can implement policy that is more equitable. There's a canyon for improvement for every person that we've casted our vote for. With that being said, I am concerned about things that I've named. I'm supporting Mayor Michelle Wu, but I'm also very concerned about a foundation of sentiment that we think we are told. Some think that the white nationalist racist movement that's going on across the country may not display itself here. Last presidential election cycle, I posted and you all saw that I was dumb. I'm sorry, the one before last, the first time the guy ran. There was a standout in Fields Corner with TRUMP signs, red signs, and flags and all that in Fields Corner. This last election cycle, there were more Republican votes in Boston than in some past years. So, Jimmy, where are you going? There is a undercurrent of an emboldenedness since the current president got elected. Boston has a long, steep history in racism. There are people in this city who do not like the progression that we're making. And you can define progression and cite real concerns about the progressive movement. When I say progression, the fact that this city has a woman mayor who is Asian, that speaks fluent Spanish, is progress for Boston and I'll make it very simple, in the demographic. No, I'm not doing identity politics. Presumption is when you have people who have had some levels of marginalization in their life, we're not weighing what amount and in what arenas, just some marginalizations. People tend to think that there's some identification and they share values and priorities toward equity. My point is, and I'll get right to it, we need to ensure that the at-large seats remain, at least 3 of them, as they are. Currently, we have City Councilor Ruthie Louis-Jean, who is the City Council President. We have City Councilor Julia Mejia, and we have City Councilor Henry Santana. Those are the 3 incumbents. Those 3 need to stay in those seats. Then we have the 4th one, who is Erin Murphy. And everybody knows I don't rock with Erin Murphy at all. And somebody better be sure to verify her endorsements this cycle, because you remember the last cycle that there was some questions whether those were endorsements for city council or for the other seat you wanted to run for, but now you're back at anyway. Then we have candidates who are not incumbents who are running for council. And there is one of them that's running that by voting history on the council, by statements made in the media, we have some concerns in this time where we have a mayor that's being attacked for the Trust Act, being a sanctuary city, being targeted, our governors being targeted. And that sentiment of old white Boston has been reinvigorated and emboldened. Largely opinion. I'll keep it 100. This is an opinionated platform, commentary. And there's a particular candidate that's running. Y'all got to. There is a particular candidate that's running that is attempting to adjoin themselves in the at-large seat back on the council to counter a lot of the progress and the makeup of Boston City Council. In the past few cycles, we have had the most diverse city council that we've had in Boston's history. And a lot of people are not happy about that. We have to pay attention to people's votes and statements that they make that raises some concerns about your support for marginalized communities. Now, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on an example of someone that concerns me when it comes to shared values around those who are marginalized. There is a candidate that's running for the at-large seats that has a very interesting history when it comes to making statements and votes on the city council. On November 2nd, 2022, there was a anti-Protestant and an anti-immigrant slur during a redistricting debate. You all understand that what supremacists attempt to do, what's going on in Texas now, it was a big issue in Massachusetts. The White House right now is trying to put some legislation forth to redo the census that's done every 10 years. And it was just done 10, 20. I think it was just done in 20. Voting and district maps are redrawn based on the census. So there were derogatory statements made during that process. In June through November of 22, joint efforts that courts found, the courts found the efforts racially motivated in the redistricting map making. In August of 22, dismissed allegations that any of their votes were racist. Then there are votes that go against equity-driven policies, rent control, home rule petition, immigrant voting. There's also a little bit more in here that in August again of 22, after Councilor Tanya Fernandez says a Black woman accused some of the white colleagues' votes of being racist, responded in this manner and said, "I actually find it laughable. Can you quantify that? I help a lot of communities. I've been pretty available to all of my communities in my district." That came after that person likened allegations of sexual assault by former Councilor Ricardo as a predator in the summer of 2022, and doubled down on that comparison. And you all know about that language, similar to a recent story in the media about a Black man that through 3 processes was proven nothing was done wrong. But there was a attempt via social media and other major media outlets to 2025 version L word, the brother. Anyway, that's one of the dog whistles that racists use. They liken us to predators and anyway, there is a history of going against joint resolutions to apologize for the role of slavery, voted against the home rule petition to dismantle the BPDA, along with another counselor opposed immediate council consideration of ceasefire resolution in Gaza war, voted against a petition to allow non-citizen Boston residents to vote in local elections, 1 of 4 counselors to vote against the new districting map promoting representation for communities of color. That is not a counselor and candidate that we need to have in place to adjoin themselves and knock either. A lot of this is going to be presumption. I certainly do not claim to be anybody's political expert, expert strategist and operative and whatnot, but I am certainly not a novice. Roofsy, Julia, and Aaron are going to place, have a lot of potential to place somewhere in those 4. 8 people will be left on the ballot after September. I think the number right now I think it's either 11 or 18. And I can find that out in a couple of seconds. It's going to come down to 4. There is a presumption that Roofsy, Julia, and Aaron are pretty much good. There's a debate whether Aaron or Roofsy will top bill. Roofsy, I think, top billed last cycle. There's some speculation that Julia may top bill. The one seat that is interesting is whether it will come down to one of the other 8 that are left after the primary. Sometimes I get confused the primary and preliminary. We don't have any, I don't believe we have any Republican. Actually, I think we do. I think we have a couple of Republican at-large candidates. Yeah, we do. Because I seen one and they told me and I literally walked away. As a black man, I am also observant that there are only 2 black and or brown men on the council right now. Brian Worrell, who shepherded the budget, moving for HBCU, very active in the Welcome Home program with the mayor's office, did that announcement yesterday to make it easier for home purchases. There are 2. Good candidates do not run for office with 1 or 2 people in mind to knock off in the context of an at-large seat. If you are running for office where there's an incumbent and not an open seat, you more than likely have somebody in mind to what we call knock off. Presumably, that candidate that I just read their history to you more than likely has Henry, maybe Julia Rusia, basically impossible. I don't believe that Erin Murphy is in mind. Let's go back a little bit of back. Now, this is hearsay. I'm telling y'all, this is hearsay. In the cycle before last, if you all remember, Mike Flaherty did not decide he was not running until Erin got on the ballot. I would venture to say, and some of the belief is if the Erin didn't get on the ballot, Mike Flaherty would have stayed and ran, because the stronghold of white male leadership racism has been dissipating. And this is why we see all this energy nationally in coming out executive orders from 1600, in some of not some of, a lot of what Congress and everybody is doing. All politics are local. We have to ensure that in those 4 at-large seats, we keep people that share our values. Are they perfect? None of them are. But do you have, out of the 4 that are in there now, 3 that by my observation and votes share a lot of the values of a lot of marginalized and intersections of marginalized communities? That candidate that I read about is not one of them. And respectfully, all seriousness, almost want to take my hat off to show how respectful. The departure from the council was to step aside to handle some family issues. And by reporting, those family issues have resolved, and that is something that we should celebrate and be glad for everything that was worked through. However, you have to wonder, part of the research showed that people were pushing, we need your voice back, we need you to get in. And then, is that reinvigorated by what's going on nationally? Is that reinvigorated by some of the sentiment that if you look at some of these ads, negative ads from your city, your future, some of that language I saw in some of the research on that candidate's website? So I'm not doing any endorsements right now. If you know me and listen to me, you can kind of tell who I'm for and who I'm not for. The 3 incumbents that are of color need to be a priority for us. The 4th one, I got to do a little bit more research on if I'm going to endorse a 4th candidate. And skip me. Okay, I won't say skip me. The identity politics that I am identifying for you, that I identify with that concept, I identify with presumption of life experience being marginalized. You got two women and a man from immigrant experience. And right now, immigrant experience on the council, I think, is very important. So pay attention. The strategists, the operatives, and the pundits who come from old Boston are salivating at quote unquote returning to old Boston. And if you talk to some folks who are Black strategists, pundits, the handwriting is on the wall. I seen a video this morning about, our city's not for sale. Let me get back and focus and stay on the council. The council is important because it is some sense, though, as I said before, by charter, one of the most powerful mayoral seats in the country. But some of that is changing. And there has been, you got a former counselor you got a mayor who's been a former counselor. Some colleagues I think a few colleagues are still left over. There's relationships. There's the ability to rebut and debate and get things done. Councilor Worrell got a lot of things done in that budget. The council in the district seats represent us. Let me pause real quick. All those council seats are important because guess what? They vote on a whole city policy. So if there's something before the council, your districts are represented 1 through 9, and then you have 4 at-large councilors. They vote on city budget. They vote on home rule petitions. They vote on making statements on behalf of the city. So district seats are important, and so are the at-large seats as a checks and balances to some extent, and also to get some things done through the council that either the mayor's trying to do that need the backup of the council, or the council is trying to do and introduce. The mayor hasn't done it yet, but supports it and they lead it. Council is very important. And you have to, not have to, I'm going to be very careful. What I see and discern is an attempt to return back to a white male mayor and all that old Boston used to represent, bring that support and energy to an extent back to the council through one being that candidate. And if the Murphy stays on with Ed, becomes very interesting. So that is some of my commentary about the at-large seats. And the candidate that I talked about, they're not for us. I have to, again, similar to Mr. Kraft, there are people that I've worked with, that I know, that I have respect and have love for, that have the same for that candidate. And they talk about how their personal experience with that candidate puts them in a different light. Full transparency and balance. I have a candidate with whom I have access and have personal experience and are able to get context beyond what's in the media and whatnot. That is real. But the thing is, that relationship isn't about me. That relationship is just, it happened. But a lot of times when the advocacy and stuff goes on, that is not about James. That is about what I hear here on social media, phone conversations and texts. It's not personal. It's about policy. And so I'll end this part with this. In 2021, I realized that sometimes there is a detriment to having certain relationships prior to people becoming candidates. There was one candidate that, because of past relationship, a consideration of supporting for mayor went out the window right after the consideration entered my head. And I had to say to a few of my friends that, wow, while most people think it's good, I had to own the fact that even if policies were 100% fully aligned, because of past experience, I was like, So I have to own that. I ended with that to name, not so much address, people that have moved in political and campaign spaces. They do have relationships. They do have some chops. When those things are also secondary to the priority of equity for our community, basic city resources, budget, well-aligned public safety based on community input, we have to do what we need to do generally. But I keep saying that this municipal election in the city of Boston this year is one of the most contentious and will be history setting, potentially for the next generation. Last thing I'll say is that's more mayoral. So I'm just going to stick with the council. So I have not looked at any comments. I have not looked at on Instagram or Facebook. And I know the catch up is probably real. I'm hot and sweating. You all know that, and again, it's not, this is for me about policy for people. It's not personal. It's about an experience and continued observation of more malleability to put policies and procedures and systems in place that further progress equity. I love the woman. Again, I'm not going to get into mayoral. All three of the candidates that I named, Santana, Roofsey, and Mejia, have, by my observation and votes, I got to do some more research on votes, have demonstrated shared values. Julia is one of the, most vocal around a lot of things when it comes to lack of equity. So that at-large race, we need to pay attention. We need to ensure. One other thing that I'll say that other communities have employed, and it can't be it's a tactic. There's a term that's called block voting. And we've talked about it before. We've introduced it, encouraged people to do it, only vote for. I can tell you, and the data shows. We had Jed on here a couple of years ago. We had Anthony, the brother that did the breakdown for us. There are blank votes often left in certain at-large voting. Data has showed that people block vote in certain communities, and those communities tend to have more residents that look lighter than me. I ain't gonna say block vote. We better black vote. All right. Let's get to some of the comments. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. We got Mama Java. Good morning, Sister Debbie. Good morning, Donna Janky. Definitely staying hydrated. I got so sick yesterday because I was dehydrated. We got to stay hydrated. Pay attention to that. Tashad, good morning to you. Look out for a post and a link soon, because we are going to do a D7 pop-up show, 5 to 7 minutes, bringing in all the candidates to sign up, and we'll chat with them about their history, their agenda, their association with Roxbury, what they've done, and what they would like to do as a District 7 counselor. Pastor Marion, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Asiya, good morning to you. We're talking civic engagement. Asiya, along with members of the staff at MAHA, conducted a mayoral debate on affordable housing last night, and I understand it went real well. Asiya, so thank you, and also others at MAHA for that great event. Nisi is saying the same thing as well. Good morning, Java family. Packed house at MAHA event yesterday. Sharon Cornelius, my mother's a traveling partner. Good to see you in the room this morning. Milagro, good morning to you. Thank you for your note. Good to see you in the room. Michelle D. Smith, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning as well. And also, actually, Asia, thank you, Pastor Sharon Cornelius. Good to see you in the room as well. The Real Boston Media is in the room. Good morning. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I also see some other comments. Asia is saying all should be held accountable for their policies by the community that they represent, regardless of potential relationships, in my opinion. And that is definitely real. How that is done, even if you have related, I'm going to be transparent. I don't go at the mayor as much publicly. And I tell y'all all the time, but if y'all could see some of these texts to her and her staff and whatnot, it's still getting done. One, she's a woman, and two, there's a different type of relationship. But every once in a while, I've since she's been mayor, I've put up a couple of posts. The community, Asia, to your point, yes, there's a relationship, but with all due respect, if I saw egregious policies that were fighting black and women and at large is the focus. Thank you, Asia. Brother Milton, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Miss Teresa, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Real Boston Media said the stimulus and unemployment checks was getting. Don't start. Bye, Milagro. Okay, I think I got everybody. I am not saying names, Sharon, because y'all also have to understand, and this is to the mother's board. The attacks are real. They are real. They are real. And so I do my best to try to avoid them as much as possible. I'm gonna say what I need to say, but I've been trying to find, I think I've been doing well at finding a medium, because I've had some real justification in the past few months where if I got on here and crashed out, I would be, I won't say justified. People would understand that my crash out. I'm human. Public figure, opinionated, influential, all of that. At the end of the day, I hurt. Words hurt. Post hurt. But we move on. And we focus on those that support. And we focus on the impact. Comes with the territory. But as long as we can point to impact, I'm good. Real Boston Media. As I've told you before, a lot of these people going into office, running for these positions, are not doing it to help the communities they serve. It's to save the benefit from their personal relationship and help them, i.e. Orange, i.e. Orange Fellow. Yes, you have. Dina, good morning. Hopefully you guys are traveling safe. Sandy, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Belinda, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Jamal, it's been good seeing you in here, brother. Good to see you in the room. Milton said that Julia is his baby. Yes, Miss Teresa, I drank a lot of water this morning. I haven't ate yet, but I will. You and Ma keep me up with that. Shout out to the Mothers Board that was in the building along with Union Capital members last night for the Maha Affordable Housing event. Mildred, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Asia, Pastor Cornelius is saying she is so proud of you. Belinda is, oh, Jesus. Hold on. Belinda is saying, I love Mayor Wu. She's a great person, but not the strongest candidate, only because she's done some things that cause contention among constituents. All of them do. Sometimes completely ignoring them. Josh Kraft is also a great person, but not strong. He only capitalizing on the mistakes. Domingos has the community experience, but I'm afraid that he is not strong when it comes to creating policy and understanding the full gamut of the job. To me, any of them would still be like in training. Belinda, to your point, that is very, very real. And it's going to bring up another point, and it gets to the mayoral. With all that's going on with the economy, tariffs, state budget, all that other stuff, from a business standpoint, and I don't care if because you ain't, a switch of an administration in the middle of this chaos, from a business, to Belinda's point, in training, at least in an incumbency, you had the experience of the ARPA funds. Side note, a lot of those ARPA funds went to Black-owned, women-owned. I'm going to stay focused. I'm not putting that on the screen, Miss Teresa. I love you. All right, let's go over. Dante, what's up, brother? Dante Luna is in the room over on Instagram. Good to see you, man. The Real List. My brother VOG is on there who can speak to some need for improvement of policy. Maine is on there. Alexandra Valdez is on there as well. That that was that now. We talk about fourth person consideration. We looking at her. I'm going to get in trouble. Again, Jermaine, good morning. Oh, Cartman, good morning to you. 617 champs, 617 champs. The Titan Johnson, good morning. Our mass coalition, coalition, COPV, the folks that fight for gun policy. Ruth, I can't remember. Ruth, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Darian, good morning to you. Kenneth Height, good morning. Susan Durkin, Sharon Durkin, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Frankie on the weekend, good morning to you. Blitz and Ari, I got as well. It's Coach. What's up, Coach? Now Coach H gonna make me think about White Stadium. Two of the major issues that I heard with a lot of people, is two of the issues, three of the major issues. White Stadium, the library came up a little bit, but the two top I hear are White Stadium, and I won't say it the way I say it because someone told me to stop saying it like that, but bumps in the street and the single lanes. That's how I'll say it. And if you're watching, I didn't say the catchphrase that I've been saying. Those are real. And y'all missed it. I caught it because I paused and said, wait, what did you say? If you look at there have been changes in the speed bumps and some of these single lane places. The mayor got on here and said a few months ago that a lot of what we see right now was put in a temporary status for testing. Again, side note, this all started under Mayor Menino, continued by Walsh, and then the current mayor is facilitating things now. But there have been some changes. I told y'all, Humboldt Ave was about to get those white poles. They're not out there. South Bay area changed. So anyway, White Stadium, Coach H was on, works with the young people. He was one of the people that took the mayor into the facility and said, hey, look at this. And it became I don't know if it was, let me not try to put words in people's mouth. He said on the interview, he brought the mayor in and he showed her the dilapidated facilities there. Some months or weeks or whatever later, we have the White Stadium proposal. He also said that there are only 20 days that they're going to play there. Ricardo Prive came on, who was a consultant around with the city for the parking and things like that. They're looking at the real concerns and a Roxbury, Franklin Park vicinity resident. So anyway, y'all, I'm tired. Let me shout out a good brother in the room. Charlene is on. I'm going to look at that one last. Asia said, shout out to the good brother Daniel at Black Dollar for timekeeping last night. It wasn't easy. Daniel, who did you have to cut the most? I bet it was the mayor. I'll mess it. Because once she gets into all that data and Charlene says, I'm not going to lie. I would be scared to switch up administrations. We need someone that isn't willing to bend to the will of the federal government. It really feels like we are going to be attacked on all sides. What baffles me? Let me frame it like this. What baffles me is a lack of observation of those who generally I have respect for their Boston Poly, Mass Poly, punditry, strategy, being an operative. don't sense concern for the handwriting on the wall in this national climate where we have a pack that is all negative and making it sound like this is the worst city in America. Do we have not room? Is there a canyon, Grand Canyon? Get my point? Is there a canyon for improvement across the board? Hell yes. Until there's no murders, until everybody that wants a house has a house, until nobody is hungry, until nobody is homeless, until every child is excelling in school. What we sense on a national level and what has the potential to creep in here, those aren't the priorities. It's a return to white power, white males. So it's 10:45. We're going to hold on. Caught it, Milagro. Yeah. There is. So this is the thing that we need to hear more of from the incumbent. Cite all the things that you've done. What are you going to do not to take it to the same level? What are you going to do to take those things to the next dimension? Real candidates. I haven't heard The question was asked, has any other candidates provided a solution counter proposal for all of it? What I see dominant in media is what's wrong. Get your city back. How are you going to get it back? And when you get it back, what are you going to do with it? So Belinda said, I was really worried about Blue Hill Ave, one bus lane, American Legion Highway, Cummins Highway, Huntington Ave, should be examples. They are, and this is, it's not cap. This is a national movement around bike lanes and safety. And the one thing that the mayor said on here for me today that brought it home, and I do not like them. I don't like speed bumps. I don't like when you can't, go in that lane and get behind somebody that's slow or make that yellow light that's about to turn red. I'm just going to be 100. I don't like it. But when the mayor got on here and said, out of casualties, and she did the order, people with cars are most protected, then those with bikes, and then pedestrians. And that's been some of this movement of car accidents and bike accidents and things like that. And so, it did shift me a little bit. I still don't like them. I don't like the fact that now I'm conditioned that when I'm in the south end of my barbershop, before I step off the curb and I step in the bike lane, I look both ways. And every time I do it, anyway, I'm old and it just, so, well, it was. I don't know what's going to go on with that mandate under these people. All right, folks. This is the second time I'm going to close. We're really getting ready to wrap up. I do not always get it right. I'm opinionated as hell. I have an agenda. Oh God, I have an agenda. It's for equity. It's for accuracy. It's for loosing the bands of marginalization on communities, especially those that share 6, 7, 8 intersections of their marginalization. In a climate right now where the box is trying to be put. So you didn't miss everything. Use it well. You can come back and watch again, the after watch. Sister Irving, they don't show the emoji, so I can't see it, but thank you for being here, one of our charter members. Adore Key 617, Adore Key 17, good morning to you. Coach H said, schools know anything on public schools. Okay, but my question is, when did Kraft become Democrat? All I'm doing, y'all, is reading the question. And there's an article, and I haven't posted it, but there's an article from State House News that in the middle or at the beginning of an interview, the Kraft went to dog the Democratic Party, and one of his comms people had to say, "Hey, buddy, you're a Democrat." To Coach H's point, that was in the media. He grew up with daddy. All I'm doing is reading a comment, and I'm going to just read it and not laugh and remain stoic. My question is, when did Kraft become Democratic? He grew up with Daddy Warbucks, who was Republican. Since when did he rock with Dems? Number two, how does elite person who attended elite private schools know anything on public schools? That was the statement read. Another statement. So tell me, how does it make sense to take away parking and lanes to make bike lanes and they don't use it? They do crazy wheelies or what's not getting in or whatnot. They're doing crazy wheelies and whatnot, getting in the ways of cars. Those bike lanes and the speed bumps in relation to Milagros' point, the utilization varies in different areas. And it goes back to because that day I sat there and when I really listened to what she said, I'm like, wait, what? She was like, well, if you look at the models, all of them are on a temporary basis. Where they work, they will become permanent, but where they don't work and we get community feedback, they are set up in a temporary basis. And I was like, wait, what? So, yeah. All right. Miss Ari is on. If I get another bike lane text, I'm going to scream. Now, when Ari, clarify for me, negative about the bike lane texts, is it campaign or is it more supportive of it, or we're doing, or tell us about the bike lane? Is it a survey from the city? Is it from the PAP? Nisi said get rid of them, period. We're not. So if I understood Asia's comment, I don't know if she was responding to something. Well, hold on. I'm just going to ask ChatGPT and see what they say. Are bike lanes federally mandated? But Asia, if you was referring to that before I get the answer and still on, please let me know. There is not on bike lanes specifically. There is not. They're not federally mandated, but here comes the money. Federal encouragement and funding. The U.S. Department of Transportation, which I thought USDOT, my first federal job back when I was a stay in school, going from 9th to 10th grade at Madison Park Vocational Tech High School. My first job was in Department of Transportation out at the Volpe building in Cambridge. I've been around government for a while. The U.S. Department of Transportation, through agencies like Federal Highway Administration, encourages bike and pedestrian infrastructure as a part of Complete Streets approach. The bipartisan infrastructure law in 2021 provides billions in funding that can be used for bike lanes, trails, protected intersections, safe routes to school, traffic calming, street bumps. So most decisions are made by municipal transportation departments. Local politics, funding availability, and public feedback heavily influence whether bike lanes get built or not. And ChatGPT said, would you like me to track the equity? ChatGPT is getting trained very well. So to Asia's point, it may have been to another answer, but when she said that, my first thought was, when people say federal mandate is money, Why do you think the White House and the guy down there now is trying to implement policy through withdrawing money that was already out? It's time to go. Thank you all for being here today. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. How can one update? Miss Teresa, no karaoke tonight. The venue is going to push it back. So no karaoke at the Pearl tonight for those that were thinking about coming. Also, something about the 19th is in my head. There was something else I was getting ready to say. No karaoke. Oh, tomorrow. Some of you may have seen in the media that a friend and brother that I've known for decades, knew his dad, Bishop Bragg and Bishop Moles served together. They attempted to carjack him. It's been on national news. He's been on Fox News. He's coming into the Java Cafe tomorrow. Bishop designate Kenneth Moles Jr., singer, preacher, pastor, legacy holder of the Moles legacy. His son is up here working for the city. Kenneth Moles Jr. is coming in tomorrow at 10 a.m. to talk about the incident where they tried to carjack him. And then he also has a video out in reference to saving our sons. And so Kenneth Moles is coming in tomorrow at 10. You're going to get a little bit of church. You're going to get a little bit of hood, but you're also going to hear from a Black man that moves in community, that understands the plight. He's a Morehouse graduate out of Bridgeport. So he's coming in tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bishop Kenneth Moles, Bishop designate Kenneth Moles Jr., Kenneth or Kenny is coming in. So we'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank all of you for being here today. Josue Villeneuve, good to see you. Ari said it's being made. Okay. So Ari's clarifying for us. It's a campaign text. Michelle was in college when the bike lane. Ari said Michelle was in college when the bike lane plan was. It was. I sat on the 5th floor when the bike czar was appointed by the mayor. I remember her. She would come in with her little cleat and her little thing and meet with the mayor and sit in the chamber and they would talk. I left the mayor's office in 2010, 15 years ago. When Michelle came in as a fellow, that was already, Michelle came in as a fellow as I was on my way out. I left in January. I think Michelle came in either the spring semester after January or the fall semester. So to Ari's point, and she's saying that what she was getting via Texas being made there, and see, accuracy of information is correct, is much needed. And a lot of this misinformation going out. So the mayor will be with us 3 weeks from today. So we'll check in with, I'm going to ask the mayor, when did she first hear about a bike lane in the city of Boston? Y'all remind me, I'm going to ask her that. All right, we're done. City Life Vida Urbana. I am honored. We talked about affordable housing and Maha and whatnot. City Life is over on Instagram. Honored to see you all in the Java Cafe today. Belinda is the last comment. Will she put bus monitors back on school buses and check bus drivers' licenses? No excuses. There was that issue with and the other thing is, here's accuracy. The city does not direct hire, monitor, and supervise the third-party companies that drive our buses. That company was under the impression that and let's just name the life of that young man that was lost. And I'm saying let's name his name, and I don't have it right here. And if anyone knows it, please put it in the comments. That tragedy was horrible for that family. In the investigation, it was found out that he had had a previous accident, but he was not reporting it. That was a third-party company, not just in this incident. And again, I'm a novice, so I'm just going to share what I've learned through the years. Usually, by the time a daily basic city service issue gets to the mayor's office, it's typically too late. And what I mean by that is it's raised at that level at a time more than likely where something is in crisis or it's so bad that it's now on her radar. I'm going to say something and I might get a call. Tashad, thank you. Arthur Lenz Joseph's life was lost partially due to what Belinda mentioned of him not reporting correct information to that third party company. Tashad, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tashad said that she would never forget his name. Arthur, when I seen the lens, I remembered Arthur Lenz Joseph. Tashad, thank you for that. Last point I'll make is a lot of, and it's not just the mayor, CEOs of big corporations, 4.2 billion in budget and assets. I want to say, was it 2,000, 20,000 employees? I don't remember the exact number. Most of the time, that stuff doesn't make it up until there's crisis, tragedy. And so, as I was getting ready to say, that's why that the people that the mayor has around her have to be committed to the community, to people-centered, prioritized policy and accountability and engagement. And I'll leave that there. Belinda said, hey to City Life. Helped me tremendously with my housing eviction case. I won. Absolutely. Thank you all for being here today. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow with Bishop Designate Kenneth Moles Jr. And, oh God, I said that like a real Bostonian. Kenneth Moles Jr. To talk about his experience and also his thoughts on young Black men and keeping them productive and thriving in life. Thank you all for being here.